Okay, we shall start. We shall discuss moment of inertia of another object. It is a thin uniform rod. Okay, as per your syllabus, we need to find out moment of inertia of a thin uniform rod. Okay, so once we complete this calculation of moment of inertia, so we are ending so the moment of inertia calculation, and afterwards we need to discuss about one more concept called angular momentum. Okay, ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಮುಗಿದೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Now let us start discussing. So we want to find out moment of inertia of a thin uniform rod. Okay, so this in the diagram whatever I have written, AB is a thin uniform rod. Okay, it is a very thin rod so that its thickness is very small and we can neglect its thickness. Okay, and it is also a uniform rod. It is because as you move from end A to end B, so the cross section area should remain the same. Okay, such a rod is what we call it as uniform rod. A rod which is having uniform cross sectional area throughout its length is called uniform rod. And we are also assuming it is a very thin rod. It is because compared to the total length of the rod, so its thickness, okay, is very small. So therefore we can neglect its thickness while calculating the moment of inertia. Now first we want to calculate moment of inertia of this thin uniform rod about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its length. Okay, so CD in the diagram whatever I have written is the axis of rotation, and CDE, the axis of rotation is passing through the point O, and point O is nothing but the center of the rod. So therefore the axis of rotation is passing through the center, and not only that one, so this axis of rotation CD is actually perpendicular to length AB. Okay, length AB ಅಂತ ಏನು ತಗೊಂಡಿದೀವೋ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಏನಿದೆಯೋ CD ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೋಟೇಷನ್ ಪರ್ಪೆಂಡಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಮೂಲಕ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. Now let us assume, so I think I have written small m, small m anta bandbidide. I will change here. Capital M is mass of the rod. Capital M is mass of the rod. So capital L is length of the rod. Okay. So therefore, if capital M is mass of the rod and not capital L, I am extremely sorry, small l. The diagram is small l anta hakondidene. No problem. Small l antane hakobodu. So small l is the length of the rod. So therefore, mass per unit length of the rod is mass divided by length. Okay, so therefore it is m by l. Okay, follow ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So therefore mass per unit length of the rod is capital M divided by L. Capital M is mass of the rod, L is length of the rod. Okay, so our axis of rotation CD is passing through the center, so that from the point O to point A, ಅಂದ್ರೆ middle point ಇಂದ ಒಂದು edge A ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ length L/2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ O ಇಂದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ B ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಲೆಂತ್ L/2 ಇದೆ. ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ in L/2 is the length on the other side also. So therefore we can assume that O is the center. So this axis of rotation is actually dividing the rod into two equal parts of length L/2 L/2. Okay na? So if you take the coordinate of the end A, O center, ಆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ನ ನೀವು ಆರಿಜಿನ್ ಅಂತ ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so the coordinate of the end A becomes minus L/2 and coordinate of the end B becomes plus L/2. I hope this is clear. Okay na? Yes. Once again, mass per unit length of the rod is m. Now in order to calculate moment of inertia, what we do is we calculate moment of inertia for a small portion. Okay, I have taken one small portion, small element here. Okay, this small element has a length dx. I hope you can see in the diagram. Okay, and this small element having length or width dx is at a distance x from the origin. So the small length element, which is a small shaded area here on the right side of the your rod, is having a length or is having a distance of dx, and it is at a distance of x from the origin. So in order to calculate moment of inertia of the entire rod, we need to calculate moment of inertia of this particular small portion. And once we are able to calculate moment of inertia of this particular small portion, and afterwards in order to calculate moment of inertia of the entire rod, what we have to do is we have to do the integration. That is very simple procedure. Okay, now that is what we are considering. We are considering a small element of length dx, which is at a distance x from the origin of the center of the rod. Now mass per unit length of the rod is m by l. So therefore mass of that small portion, that small element is very simple. Mass per unit length into length of the element. Length of the element is dx. So therefore mass of that small element is m by l into dx. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಶೇಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಲ್ಲ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ thickness dx ಅಂತ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೀವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಪೋರ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ m by l times dx, where capital M is mass of the rod, small l is total length of the rod, and the dx is length of the rod. Okay, na? Now, so using this moment of inertia, using this mass of the element expression, it is possible to find out moment of inertia. So moment of inertia of this element about the given axis. Given axis means axis passing through the center and perpendicular to its length is, it is m by l mass into square of the perpendicular distance. Mass is m by l into dx agate. So this element is at a distance of x from the origin. So therefore into x square agate. So therefore x square first time barkondidini. So therefore we can say that it is m by l times x square into dx. Okay, moment of inertia of the small element is m by l into x square into dx. Okay, but I have already told we are not interested in moment of inertia of the small portion, we are interested in the moment of inertia of the whole rod, entire rod. Okay, so therefore that is very simple. So capital I, moment of inertia of the entire rod, is given by integral minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. I have already told end A, see the diagram, end A has a coordinate of minus L by 2, end B has a coordinate of plus L by 2. So therefore integral limits are integral minus L by 2 to plus L by 2 into moment of inertia of the small rod, I mean small portion, small element, which is m by L into x square into dx. So if we take out m by L, because m and L they are constant, if we take them outside the integration, so we are left with integration of x square dx. Okay, and you know that the integration of x square is x cube by 3. So therefore it is x cube by 3 minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. Integral limits na hakbeku. Integral limits na substitute madre I becomes equal to m divided by 3L. So x ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ L by 2 ಹಾಕಬೇಕು, x ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ L by 2 ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ it is L cube divided by 8 minus of, so again in the place of x if we substitute minus L by 2, it is minus L cube divided by 8. Okay, so therefore there is minus into minus plus ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So therefore we have 2L cube divided by 8. So 2 you can cancel with that 8, it becomes 4, and 4 you can multiply with this with 3, so therefore it becomes 12. So therefore the moment of inertia of the rod actually becomes ml square by 2. And once we are able to calculate the moment of inertia, the radius of gyration is also very simple. So it is equal to mk square, cancel ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. So k square becomes equal to L square by 12. So therefore radius of gyration actually becomes k. Square root of L square by 2, square root of L square is L, square root of L, which is 4 root 3, can be written as 2 root 3. Okay na, idist gottaita? Now for the same rod we want to calculate moment of inertia about an axis through one of its end, okay, and perpendicular to its length. I have not written the diagram here, but it is very simple, it is self-explanatory from this particular statement. Now we want to calculate moment of inertia about an axis. Now the axis is not passing through the ends, sorry, it is not passing through the center, it is actually passing one of the end, and again it is perpendicular to its length. Okay, diagram bardilla, but adರಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. The axis CD is now not passing through O, it is passing through either A, extremely sorry. Okay, so it is either passing through the end A or either passing through B. Okay, are you following?
Yes, sir.
So now the axis CD is not passing through the origin, is not passing through the center O, it is passing through either end A or either end B. If it is passing through end A or if it is passing through end B, the moment of inertia is the same because it is a thin uniform rod. So let us assume that the axis CD is now passing through A. Okay, na? Now how do you calculate? Calculation of moment of inertia is very simple. Okay, so here the axis CD passes through one end B of the rod. B ne ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇನಿಲ್ಲ, A ಕೂಡ ಆಗಬಹುದು. The expression for the moment of inertia is the same. We can use the same logic in the sense, so we can actually consider a small portion here also. Let us assume that the axis is passing through A. Okay, now we can consider a small portion. That small portion is having length dx, and now that small portion is again at a distance x, not from the center but actually from the end A, because end A now becomes actually origin if axis CD is passing through A. So therefore end A itself becomes origin. So therefore again you can assume that the length element, so having length dx, is at a distance x, not from the center but from the end A through which the axis of rotation is passing. So therefore it's very simple. We can do the calculation in a very simple way. So integral moment of inertia IL actually becomes integral 0 to L. So m by L times n x square into dx. This is the same old expression m by L into x square into dx, moment of inertia of the small portion. Now we are integrating. So as the axis of rotation is passing through the side A or side B, whatever it is, integral limits are no longer from minus L by 2 to plus L by 2, it is 0 to L. Follow ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now therefore this integration, now integral 0 to L m by L into x square into dx. So rest of the thing is very trivial. M by L can be taken outside. Now integration of x square into dx is 0 to L. So integration of x square is x cube by 3. So if you substitute upper limit L, it becomes L cube divided by 3. If you substitute the lower limit as 0, then minus 0. It is not necessary to include that 0. So therefore this becomes m L cube. There is already 1 L in the denominator. So therefore this becomes m L square divided by 3. So therefore moment of inertia of a thin uniform rod about an axis passing through one of its ends. Okay, one of its ends, and still it is perpendicular to the length, is actually given by, I have written it as I1. I1 is given by m L square divided by 3. So if it is m L square by 3, the radius of gyration of the rod about the same axis is very simple. It is square root of L square by 3. Square root of L square is L. Square root of 3 is root 3. So therefore the radius of gyration K1 actually becomes equal to L into root 3. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ಕೇಳಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದು?
Yes, sir.
ನಿಮಗೆ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. No doubt? ಕೇಳಿಸಿದ್ಯಪ್ಪ?
Yes, sir.
ಯಾರು ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ? ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತೇನೋ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು.
No, sir.
ಓಕೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ?
Yes, sir.
ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಆನ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನರ್ಷಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ರೆಕ್ಟಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ಇವತ್ತು ಥಿನ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ರಾಡ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಥಿನ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ರಾಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಈಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, ಏನ್ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಡೌಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದಾ? Okay, now let us try to understand about another concept. So another term associated with rotational motion. There are several quantities associated with rotational motion. For example, so there is angular displacement, there is angular velocity, then there is angular acceleration, and so on. Okay, we discussed about some of the parameters associated with rotational motion. Now let us try to understand about two more quantities. There are two more quantities associated with the rotational motion, physical quantities. So those two are actually angular momentum and torque. Okay, so innu ಎರಡು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ರೋಟೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಆಂಗುಲರ್ ಮೊಮೆಂಟಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಮತ್ತಿನ್ನೊಂದು ಟಾರ್ಕ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಲೆಟ್ us try to understand what is the meaning of angular momentum and torque. Okay, now let us first try to calculate or try to understand the angular momentum of a particle. Okay, so first we shall try to define what is angular momentum of a particle. Then afterwards we shall try to define angular momentum of entire rigid body. So actually we are interested in angular momentum of a rigid body, but before we calculate angular momentum of a rigid body, so we define angular momentum of a particle. Okay, so the angular momentum vector L, angular momentum is denoted by L, and it is written as vector L. It is because it is a vector quantity. Like linear momentum, in the case of linear momentum we have So in the case of linear motion, we have linear momentum, which is given by the product of mass and velocity, m into v. Similarly, there is one more quantity associated with the rotational motion, that is what we call it as angular momentum. Linear momentum is a vector quantity, so therefore angular momentum is also a vector quantity. Linear momentum is written by the letter P, whereas angular momentum is written by the letter capital L. Okay, so capital L vector because it is a vector quantity. So this actually denotes angular momentum. So the angular momentum vector of a particle. So with respect to a fixed point, with respect to a fixed origin, it's very simple. It's simply the vector product of position vector R and linear momentum vector P of the particle. Okay. If you consider a particle, if a particle is moving, so then it has a position vector R. So since it is moving, it also has linear momentum. So other linear momentum vector P and then this vector R cross P is nothing but the vector product of position vector and linear momentum vector. This cross product of R and P is nothing but your angular momentum of the particle. So therefore, angular momentum of a given particle vector L is simply equal to the cross product or vector product. Cross product and vector product, they are one and the same. So it is a cross product or the vector product of position vector and so linear momentum vector P. Okay, and you should be very careful. It is because it is not P cross R. Vector L is not P cross R. It is R cross P. Okay, if I write 3 cross R, so vector product do not commute. A cross B is not equal to B cross A. So therefore, vector L should be written as R cross P. It should not be written as P cross R. Okay. So therefore, vector L is actually given by R cross P. And I have already told it is a vector quantity. As remain a vector symbol definitely angular momentum is a vector quantity. And its direction, since it is a vector quantity, it has a direction also. And its direction is actually so perpendicular to both position vector and momentum vector direction. So the direction of vector L is actually perpendicular to the plane containing vector R and vector P. So if you take vector R and vector P, and if you take a plane in which vector R and vector P are passing, then this vector L is actually perpendicular to the plane containing vector R and vector P. Okay. 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 This is moment of inertia. Sorry, angular momentum of a single particle. Okay. We defined angular momentum of a single particle. Angular momentum of a single particle is simply given by R cross P. Okay, where R is its position vector, P is its linear momentum vector. Okay, but remember, we are not interested in angular momentum of a single particle. We are interested in angular momentum of a rigid body. Okay, so we are discussing rotational motion is applicable to rigid bodies. So therefore, whatever the quantity is so far we defined, whether it is angular velocity, angular acceleration, whatever it is, or moment of inertia, we defined those quantities for the entire rigid body. So likewise, we are interested in the angular momentum of a rigid body, not for a single particle. Okay. In the case of a rigid body, there are billions of particles. So therefore, so by taking care of all those particles together, we are interested to find out the total angular momentum of the rigid body. Okay, so it is very simple. How do you calculate angular momentum of a rigid body? What you have to do is you have to find out the angular momentum of the first particle, angular momentum of the second particle, angular momentum of the third particle, etc., etc., etc. And please remember all these angular momentum, vector L1, vector L2, vector L3 for the first particle, second particle, third particle, and so on. They are actually vector quantities. So since they are vector quantities, if you want to find out angular momentum of the entire rigid body, only thing is you have to sum up. Okay, it is not ordinary summation, it is not algebraic summation, it is actually vector summation. That's what I have written here. So therefore, the vector sum of angular momentum of all the particles of a rigid body about the given axis of rotation is simply equal to angular momentum of the rigid body. How do you calculate angular momentum of the entire rigid body? Angular momentum of the entire rigid body is very simple. It is simply equal to vector sum, because individual angular momenta, they are vectors. So therefore, so we have to add those angular momenta vectors. That is why we call it as vector sum. The vector sum of the angular momenta of all the particles. Momentum singular, momenta plural. So therefore, vector sum of all the angular momenta of all the particles of the rigid body is what we call it as. So angular momentum of the rigid body. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I have not written any diagram. No problem. So you can just follow here. So we are assuming that our rigid body is consisting of many number of particles. So first particle is having mass m1. second particle is having mass m2, third particle is having mass m3, so on. Okay, m1, m2, m3 are the masses of the particles of the rigid body, and these masses are situated at distances r1, r2, r3, etc., from the axis of rotation xy. Okay, so let us assume that axis of rotation is xy. If the axis of rotation is xy, our first particle having mass 1 is situated at a distance r1, second particle of mass m2 is situated at a distance r2, and third particle of mass m3 is situated at a distance r3. Okay, na? And please remember, since the whole rigid body is rotating, so all the particles of the rigid body, they are also having motion. Since the rigid body is rotating, so all the particles of the rigid body are also rotating. So therefore, they have both angular velocity as well as linear velocities. Okay, angular velocity is common for all the particles, we know that one, but their linear velocities are not common. Linear velocities are v1, v2, v3, etc., First particle mass m1 idre agar linear velocity v1 irutte. Second particle mass m2 idre agar linear velocity v2 irutte. Third particle ge mass m3 idre adra linear velocity v3 irutte. Gottagtideya idu?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now linear velocity of the first particle is given by v1 is equal to r1 omega. I think this is very clear. Houdala? So we are using the relation v is equal to r omega. So therefore, linear velocity of the first particle is v1 is equal to r1 omega. Omega is common. So now, what is the linear momentum of the first particle? It is not linear moment, it is linear momentum. What is the linear momentum of the first particle? Linear momentum of the first particle is p1. It is equal to mass into velocity m into v1. v1 no r1 into omega anta barkondidiri. So therefore, p1 becomes equal to m1. I'm extremely sorry, m1 barbeku. m1. So r1 omega. Okay. So linear velocity of the first particle is r1 omega. v1 is equal to r1 omega. Linear momentum is m into v. It's not m into v, m1 into v1. So therefore, it must be m1 r1 omega. Now, what is the angular momentum of the first particle? Remember, angular momentum is nothing but r into p. Alva? R into p agate. A cross na tegibittu ನಾವು ಬರಿ magnitude ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ it becomes rp, r into p agate. P is m into v agate. So therefore, it is mvr or mrv. So angular momentum of the first particle is mvr or mrv agate. No problem. ಯಾವ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. So since it is a first particle, angular momentum is L1. So it is m1 r1 v1. What is v1? v1 is r1 into omega. So therefore, if I substitute v1 here, r1 omega, I am going to end up with r1 square omega. Okay, ಇದು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ?
Yes, sir.
It's very simple.
Yes, sir.
So it just multiply is m into r into r cross into p. R cross into p, p is nothing but mv. So therefore, if you take only the magnitude, so it is r into p, rp into r. P is nothing but mv. So therefore, it is mv into r or mr into v. In any order, you can add, not a problem. Since we are writing in in magnitude wise, okay, we're not writing action. I mean, we're not taking care of your direction. We're taking care of only the magnitude. So therefore, it is m1 r1 v1. v1 is nothing but r1 omega. So therefore, it is r1 into r1 square agate m1 r1 square omega. Now, so angular momentum of the second particle is L2. Angular momentum of the second particle is in a similar way m2 r2 v2. Now it is given by m2 r2 square omega. Angular momentum of the first particle is m1 r1 square omega. Angular momentum of the second particle is m2 r2 omega. m2 r2 square omega. Angular momentum of the third particle is m3 r3 square omega. Okay. So therefore, how do you calculate angular momentum of the entire rigid body? Angular momentum of the entire rigid body is very simple, sum of all the angular momenta. So therefore, capital L angular momentum of the entire rigid body is m1 r1 square omega plus m2 r2 square omega plus m3 r3 square omega, etc. So you can write it in the summation index. So it is summation mi ri square omega, where I runs from 1 to some big number. Okay, I it is summation over I. Okay, so therefore it is summation of mi ri square omega. Now please remember, omega is angular velocity. Angular velocity is common for all the particles. So therefore, omega can be taken outside. Omega na ನೀವು ಆಚೆ ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. So therefore, you can also write summation mi ri square. What is summation mi ri square? Summation mi ri square is nothing but the moment of inertia that is written by capital I. So therefore, angular momentum capital L actually becomes equal to I into omega. It's very simple. Angular momentum of a rigid body is given by the product I into omega. Moment of inertia and angular velocity. Moment of inertia and angular velocity ಎರಡನ್ನು multiply ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ that itself is your angular momentum. So therefore we are able to prove that angular momentum of a rigid body is given by the product of I, moment of inertia, and omega, angular velocity. Okay, now please remember these are all actually vectors. Here ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿರೈವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೊಟೇಷನ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೊಟೇಷನ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ you can write vector L is equal to I into omega, vector omega. Okay, so this is what the expression you can write. Rigorously this is not the expression, but anyhow for your level ashtu saaku. So you can write vector L is equal to I into omega anta barkobodu. Okay, so where I is the momentum, I is nothing but your moment of inertia, omega vector is nothing but angular velocity vector. So therefore product of moment of inertia I and angular momentum, so omega is actually given by, so your angular momentum vector here. Okay, so that's what I have written here. The angular momentum of a rigid body is the product of its moment of inertia and angular velocity. The SI unit of angular momentum is actually kg meter square per second. Okay, so it is m, angular momentum is m r1 square omega. So for m1 it is kg, for r it is meter, r1 square it is meter square, and for omega it is radian per second. Or let us use this expression m1 r1 v1 use ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಣ, because if you write in terms of omega radian ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, we can avoid. Mass is kg, r1 meter, and velocity is meter per second. So meter into meter, meter square ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So therefore SI unit of angular momentum is kg meter square per second, or you can also write it as joule second. So kg meter square per second is same as joule second.